Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app. Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. Special edition breakfast bankroll midday market report with none other than the king of pucks, Mr. Andrew McInnis at mcinnispicks and wagertalk. Yes, happy Easter weekend. You all have made it. Big weekend in sports. Something that's not even getting talked about, and me and Andrew just talked backstage for about 35 minutes, and I didn't even bring it up, is that the NCAA hockey is going on, and actually right down the road in Providence, BC kind of sleptwalked for 2 periods and then opened up a can of whoop ass, and they are 1 win away. Going to face Quinnipiac, defending champs, on Sunday. Win and get a week off and head to St. Paul, Minnesota, the Frozen Four, where Anthony Pepe is dying to head out there. But first and foremost, let's talk about our proud sponsor and partnership, of course, of the WagerWire. If you have not downloaded the app, please just head on over to Google Play or wherever you download the app. It's free. Start keeping track of your bet, your ROI. Make this an investment, not an entertainment. Take a look, scroll down to the sports books that are live in your state. Start downloading them. Take advantage of the match play, the promos, whatever offers that they do have. Start window shopping and get your pen and pencils ready, because we will be doing a lot more work daily with WagerWire hand in hand as the rest of this year proceeds. And if you're looking for a little flash cash or side hustle, send an email to affiliate at wagerwire.com. Tell them JD from ECSI sent you. Travis, Zach, the rest of that team and community will take good care of you. So without further ado, the star of this show, the one and only Mr. Andrew McInnis. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you. Good to be back. It feels like home. It feels like home being on this show with you here, Jeff. Hearing the enthusiastic intro you have, and here we are talking on a Saturday. This might be one of 3 or 4 weekend shows we've ever done together. So it's great to be here with you, Jeff. Good to see you.
Yeah, and what better Saturday to be here? There is just so much to talk about. And again, we were talking for 35 minutes. It's been a while since you and I have done a show. Between vacations, work, family, life gets busy. And I was like, why not today? And you look, you got 2 games in the Elite Eight in NCAA hoops. You got a full day of baseball. You got a huge slate of hockey. I'll even say there's a couple NBA games. I know I won't be on them, but my point is we even have NCAA hockey, which I was actually watching all last night, having a blast with. So much to choose from. This is where all the hard work, the studying the numbers, someone like yourself does all the work and makes it easier for all of us.
It is a great time to be a sports fan and sports bettor. I mean, if you can't find something today that you like to bet, I mean, I think you might be in the wrong business. You might be looking at the wrong, something. If you don't like sports betting, if you can't find something today, and you mentioned the NCAA hockey, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be an expert on that, but I have looked at it. I have been enjoying it, and it's fun to follow along with, and what's great about that tournament, I mean, just like you see in March Madness, there are upsets. There are close games. It's hockey. Anything can happen. So I've been following along with that. There's all kinds of great prospects doing well. And And I'm down to my last future in March Madness. Tennessee's my last future bet. All the other ones went down. Auburn, nope. Arizona, gonzo. So we got Tennessee, just the lone straggler, future bet for me. And then, of course, hockey right now with the playoff stretch. Some teams, nothing to play for, like the Ottawa Senators, and they're finally starting to play well. I've been joking around. The Senators play their best hockey in March when they're out of it already, when they have no hope of making the playoffs. Then you've got teams like the Tampa Bay Lightning, who nobody seemed to talk about. And I do recall, Jeff, I think you spoke about them to me a month or two ago, saying everyone's forgetting about this team. And now all of a sudden they're putting some wins together. And, the last time you and I did a futures show, they were like 25-1. And people are forgetting about this team having Vasilevsky and all the Stanley Cups they've won and the final appearances they've been to. So it's great right now. I'm really looking forward to it. And, the great part about a big slate, and that I always go back and forth with high volume or how many picks do I want to bet or release. The great thing about a slate like this one is that it doesn't mean you have to bet 6 games. You just get so many to choose from, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, the spaghetti strainer usually catches a few winners, but they hopefully catch a few losers as well. The ECSI VIPs, we just, life is so good. The birds are chirping, the sun is shining, when you're on those nice runs. But when you win 2, lose 3, win 4, and you're looking for some traction, and that's what I'm in right now, leaving a lot of winners on the desk. The NCAA March Madness, they couldn't be any sharper. I mean, they're every game is right there. And trying not to get cute, trying to find some value and edge on some team totals. I've picked and choose on some sides. I did think Duke was the right side yesterday, left that on the desk. But again, the injury to Shed by Houston, that game changed right away there. I do want to say this: Anthony Pepe, owner of Food Truck Festivals, my co-host, or I am his co-host for the Diehards, works for BC Hockey. And so he's the engineer for their play-by-play on the radio. And before the season started, he says, Jeff, they're a wagon. They're a wagon. Get what you can. So I gave out to the ECSI VIPs, anyone that could, 7-1 before the preseason started. Now they're the favorite to win it all. That, as you said, in hockey, anything can happen. They were kind of playing grab ass. It was 2-1 going into the third last night. They put up a 4 spot, a 6-1, I think the final was. Quinnipiac, they played the first game of the year at Quinnipiac, and I think they won 2-1 in overtime. So they'll be tested. I think Anthony said tomorrow at 4:00 in Providence. But there's just so much to talk about. And again, it's a Saturday, Easter weekend, yesterday, Good Friday. Where do you want to start? I mean, the hockey slate, we could talk for 3 hours just on the hockey slate.
Yeah, we could do a real long. Well, I just want to comment on a great winner you had yesterday, and I appreciate you because the Tennessee pick, looking towards the over, because I'll tell you my gut reaction, and I don't always tell you when I tail you or not, but I do tail every now and then. I've been lowering my action and haven't been playing too many games recently, but last night I was like, I got to check my email from Jeff here, and I was interested that you had the team total over, because my gut reaction was Tennessee's a good defensive team. If they're going to win the game, they have to shut down Creighton. So I was tempted to take Creighton's team total under. So I'm happy I went with your choice, because that game had a fast pace to it. It ended up slowing down, but the way that game started, it was 3-pointer after 3-pointer after fadeaway, just uncontested shots. So I'm happy you had that winner, but I'm just got, I guess, asking you a question here about this Tennessee. You know more about college than me. Do you feel like that game pace was a little bit more like, does that correlate to Tennessee victories usually? I mean, usually they're more of a team that wants to play milk the shot clock on offense, lock down on defense with their zone. To me, that seemed like it was kind of a unnatural Tennessee game from what I know about them.
Truth be told, I was crunching the numbers, and the thought process to me was, if Creighton wanted to win this game, they had to get it into a shootout. They had to press the pace. And I thought, and you watched the first half where Tennessee couldn't throw it in the ocean, and I think it was 34-33 at half. And then whatever adjustments that Rick Barnes made, Creighton kept up that tempo, and Tennessee offensively started making some shots, and they picked up the pace, and they got that 6-8 point lead where now Creighton had to press. And that's the key to team totals, over-unders. As you know, and everyone here that's an ECSI VIP or watches our shows, I want to say I'm like a team total specialist in this regard, is especially in college hoops. If you got a close game within 10 points, you can score, and I've seen it, 20, 25 points in the last 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
With the other team hitting a 3 or a layup and then the foul. Team hitting a 2, then a foul. And Creighton was close enough where you got that, extra 2 minutes of action versus a 20-point blowout, and you're just going to get the other team holding the ball, and then the team losing going to launch it. Now, the flip side, and listen, guys, there's no one. I'm as transparent as they come. Okay, so the Tennessee team total was a great one. The Marquette team total was DOA. I've never seen a team at one point was 1 for 31 from threes.
But you can't control that, Jeff. That's not on you. I mean, you made your best wager you could make. I know what happened, but I was looking at some of the analytical shotquality.com said that Marquette should have won by like 16 points or like 13 points. That's crazy. Like, I've never seen that before.
They were 4 for 34 from 3, and they missed 9 free throws. Just do basic math. I mean, and it was a shame to go out like that. And everyone's talking about Shaka's, postseason record. And I know coaches, hey, listen, when they win, you want to praise them, and when they lose, that's what we go at. Shaka wasn't shooting the ball. He put his team in an amazing position to win that game. They just couldn't throw it in the ocean, Andrew.
Some great plays drawn up, too. Some open, uncontested shots. They're running off screens. Like, I couldn't believe it. And the worst part is like, sometimes, so I was at a playoff junior hockey game while that game was going on. I got home to watch the Tennessee game. My buddy and I are sweating out the Marquette game. We ended up jumping in on them live. So it was funny. We forgot the game started. So we're like, oh, this is even better. Like, we were able to get them like minus 120 live on the money line. So like, we're like, this is great. We don't even have a spread. And then we'll check back in about 10 or 15 minutes. And we check back and they're down like 9, 10, 11. And then we're like, okay, because when you're not watching the game, you don't really know what's actually, what the stats are. So you start looking at the stats, and it makes you more mad because you're not watching the game, but you're like, oh my God, they're shooting like 13% from 3-point range. And at that point, you're happy you weren't watching the game, because that's the thing is, it's kind of like if you're betting on hockey and your team is down 4-1, but you've got like 35 shots on goal and the other team has 20, and you just can't get past them. That's tricky. That's tricky. But, yeah, it's frustrating, but that's why they call it one and done, right? You lose one and you're out. And you're out.
And the funny thing in baseball, we've had 2 team totals, both lost. Opening day, we had the Twins team total over 4.5. Great call by you on Baltimore opening day. As they got there in like the 3rd or 4th inning, the Twins. Bases loaded, 1 out, they don't score. And in the 9th, they got 4. They got 2nd and 3rd, 1 out with their biggest hitter up, Carlos Santana. Any kind of ground ball, fly ball, I get to 5. Strikes out, the next guy flies out. Last night, we had the team total on the Marlins over. Jazz Chisholm, first 2 at bats, 5 left on base, bases loaded, and 2 guys on. Even in the 8th and the 9th, they were 1 swing away from getting there. That's the frustration. And everyone watching and listening here that's new to the channel, that's new to me, that's new to East Coast Sports Investors, our job, obviously, doing our work is to try to create edges, is trying to find value. And listen, that word value in these lanes, a lot of people misuse it. My point is, as Andrew said with Marquette, for instance, we want to put everyone that listens to us, that puts hard-earned money on our plays, in position to win. There's a difference. There's a lot of times where games are just dead on arrival. There's a lot of times right side, wrong result. But my point is, our job is to put you in position. And you talked about hockey. We outshoot you 48-22, and we scored 1 goal. We had the shots on goal. We were 0 for 5 on the power play. We got almost 50 shots on net. We just couldn't get it by you. But we put you in position to win the game, Andrew.
And Jeff, before we get into any games here, I just want to say that obviously, I'm happy with my start to the MLB season, but with the team total strategy, and I feel like that's like, you and I have been talking team totals for quite some time now, but I feel like really diving in, I'd say like, the last year and a half, maybe, but I think that baseball might be the better sport for it. And there were some spots where I should have laid the chalk or went regulation during the NHL season. I was doing kind of a self audit with my NHL season, and it's like, some team totals I had where the team ended up winning the game. And of course, there were some team totals where I had where they lost the game and the play hit. But with baseball, it's so nice because, like, sure, sometimes you see them have some bad at-bats and they mail it in a little bit. The intensity's not there. You're on game 45 of 162. But what's great about baseball is like, there's not like, you're not racing up and down the ice. You're not getting pushed into the boards. Like, you're just going to the plate and it's you versus the pitcher for 9 innings. Right. And that's why I think, and so for me, my opening day, having the Orioles team total, well, that was fine and dandy. But the Mariners one, even though it was a bit more chalky, that one made me feel better than people were like, oh, great call on the Orioles. And which it's great, but the Mariners lost their game. And that to me was the best part. And that's what I've learned from you the most, was that you're picking a team that you think is going to get some runs up, good offense, fade the bad pitcher on the other side. Drew Martin from Wager Talk, he had a bet on the Red Sox money line. So on the Wager Talk yesterday's plays recap, right above each other, because our last names are the same letter, it was Drew Martin, Red Sox money line plus money. Andrew McInnis, Mariners team total over. So we were both able to capitalize on different teams in the same game, but come out on top. So that's my favorite part about team totals in baseball. Obviously, it works in other sports as well. Last year with the Oilers in the playoffs, getting to 4 goals, but losing 6-4 was always nice. But one today that I'm actually not going the team total route, and I actually would just say I like the Mets early action, early game here. Severino on the mound. Last year wasn't a great outing for him. Not a great ERA. Not really something that I would usually get behind here, but he looked pretty good in spring training. Only 2 runs given up in 14 innings pitched. He struck out 12 batters. And compared to a lot of other handicappers I speak to, I actually do read a lot into spring training, Jeff. I really do. I think it matters because if it doesn't, then why are we watching the games? Why are we looking at the stats? I think for pitchers especially, you want to go ahead and look at it. Realistically, the Brew Crew offense didn't look great yesterday. I feel like they could have taken advantage of a bad pitcher that was out there yesterday for the Mets. I don't think the Mets have great pitching, bullpen or starter, but I like this opportunity for them to bounce back. And I just don't think this Brewers team has a deep offense. I think they've got some good pitchers, decent bullpen, but I think the Mets get back on track here. So I'll lay the $1.20.
And I wanted to add one thing on team totals in baseball. And again, this is just day 3 of 162 marathon. I always talk about if you're following the public and you're on social media, the favorite play this year is going to be the Dodgers run line. And the reason I say hey, it's great when you're on the road. Why is it great on when you're on the road? Because you're guaranteed nine innings, 9 at bats, 27 outs. When you're at home, you're only guaranteed 8 innings. Okay, so you're only guaranteed 24 outs. So anytime you take a home team and you're using the run line, you better hope that the bullpen doesn't allow, you're up 3-1. In comes the bullpen, leadoff walk, pass ball, grounded to second, guy on third, 1 out, fly ball to left. Sack fly 3-2 final. Everyone's happy, but the people that have the run line.
Yeah.
What's real special about the team totals is if you go to extra innings. Why is it so special? Because each team starts with the guy on second base. So you're getting a leadoff double. So if you have over 4.5 and it's 4-4 going to the 10th, you're going to get 3 swings to get one guy from second base. So always remember that the team total, once you get it, we don't care what happens.
That's great.
So, and your Dodger team totals, your Brave team totals, probably your Houston's, your Baltimore might be a little inflated. So keep an eye on that. Again, you said it great on Thursday. What we try to do here with the team totals is you turn in a minus 170 or 180 favorite sometimes, and you're turning it into plus money over 4.5 plus 105. So you got a piece of the big favorite. We just have it in another way. That's all, Andrew.
And I'll say really quick about the Dodgers, because that's the talk of the town, right? Dodgers, Braves, and it's already been a few games. Dodgers have gone over the team total. Yesterday, run line hit. I jumped on them minus 2.5 yesterday, Jeff. Called me crazy. But I was watching the game with my buddy. And, this is the thing is that people will, say bad things about some, how people, the Joe Public and, all these squares and all sharp square, all these words are used, right? In my opinion, the best time for everybody out there watching, the best time, and I was listening to some shows on Wager Talk with bookmakers, from Westgate and different places in Vegas. The best time to be betting on the Dodgers is right now, because that premium, that tax, as we say, is going to come into play in about a month, 3 weeks time, a month and a half. Then it's going to be out of the play, And I'm curious your thoughts. Like, to me, like right now, even though it might seem like the square play or the public play, there are a lot of public plays in baseball, and sometimes the books have to live with it. But until they get, boosted with it a couple times, until they get, taken out back with it a couple times, and they adjust the numbers, because I guarantee you in the summer, we're going to see a 6.5 plus money for the team total for the Dodgers. We're going to see a 6.5 minus money at some point. But at this point, with the offense that they have, I don't get why anybody would be laying the money line or even the run line. Chances are when this team wins, they're putting up runs. And so what's funny is people will we'll talk poorly about people betting the Dodgers. But in my opinion, this is the time right now to do it. I'd say, the middle of July is when you're going to get caught having to win 4 out of 5 games to actually make money. Would you agree with me on that?
I would. And Russell Saylor, good morning. Happy Easter weekend, Russ. Long time no chat. Dodger run line every game until further notice. and here's the funny is, a lot of times on my alerts when I write them up, you'll see, hey, we need a touchdown today, no extra point. We need a touchdown, extra point. We need a touchdown, 2-point conversion. You wait till the Dodgers and the Braves go to Coors Field. We've already seen what the Colorado pitching staff looks like in Arizona the first 2 games. So you're going to get some team totals. Call me crazy now. You will get the Dodgers and Braves team totals at Colorado, you're going to be looking at 6.5, 7s, 7.5s. And watch when the Padres come in there, the same thing. So it's going to be crazy, as you said. And a great point, Andrew, as always. You might want to strike now while you can. You're going to lay a little tax today right now. Yamamoto versus Lance Lynn. If you want the Dodgers team total today, you got to lay minus 135, 4.5 over minus 135, and St. Louis 3.5 under. So if you'd like St. Louis to get to 4 or better today, you get them at plus 110. But as Russell said, until further notice, Dodgers run line every game.
And can we blame him? Can we blame him? That's the thing. Can we blame Russell right now for saying that? I'll throw one more out there for today, and it's just a classic handicap spot. I mean, I know it's the start of the year. Usually this situation works a lot better in the midst of the season. But Jeff, 4.5, the team total I'm seeing for the Astros to get over. They've lost the first 2 games. They lost the first game in dramatic fashion. They were leading, and then it was an absolute all-time collapse. And you know what happens after you collapse in a game? The next game, you're going to get pummeled and actually deserve to lose. They lose 7-1 yesterday to the Yanks. Tonight, they got Stroman on the mound for the Yankees, and I'm looking to bet against them. I look, as a Jays guy, I like Stroman. I think he's got good stuff, but I think they're going to get to him. I think you're seeing his number at over 3.5 strikeouts. That says something to me because Hunter Brown, his number is at 5.5. I think that, obviously I know Stroman isn't as much of a strikeout pitcher, but I think after yesterday, to look to avoid losing your first 3 straight games of the season, over 4.5 Houston Astros to get me to 5 runs, I think is a pretty good bet today.
No, I agree. I felt for our good friend and colleague Ariel Epstein when she yesterday. I think she went against her Yankees, and again, she doesn't do that very often. And here comes, they're at Houston, of course. Lost the first game, and then sure enough, bing bang boom, Yankees again. So the Yankees win. The Yankees win.
So you're on the same page with me, though. You like that one?
Yeah, I'm not a big Stroman fan. The under-over's at 9 right now. You can get Houston over 4.5 minus 20 cents. If you think the Yankees also hit Hunter Brown, you can get them plus 110 to get to 5 or better as well. So they're expecting a little fireworks in Houston. Maybe they'll bring out the garbage cans again. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, I wouldn't mind that for today if I end up betting them. Give me the fire, give me the garbage can. But those are 2 I like so far, though. So I'm on the Mets money line, which is my first money line wager. That's not a client play, though. That's a bet that I made, but it didn't make the client card there. And the team total for the Astros will be a client play. So anybody watching gets that one. Going against Stroman. What a loyal Jays fan I am. Going against Stroman, his first start of the year for the Yanks.
There is a full slate of NHL. And again, if we were to pick through and dissect this whole card, we would be here probably for most of the afternoon. And I know Lindsay and Henry would not like me and your family. And I know you have Easter dinner obviously coming. Big slate. 12:37 Detroit at Florida, 3:37 Vegas at Minnesota, 4:07 Anaheim, Edmonton. The night slate, Rangers, Arizona. Good game, Nashville at Colorado. My Bruins at Washington. Your Habs hosting Carolina, and that was one of our teams that we talked about preseason, pre-flop. They're starting to round back into form. Good game late at night, Dallas at Seattle, and obviously LA at Calgary. Full slate. I'm just going to throw the NHL over to you.
Jeff, I don't know how much you and I have even spoken since Jake Gensel was acquired by them, but it's about time the Hurricanes started making moves. And I keep saying on every show, whenever I'm on Sports Grid, I said, guys, this is one of the first years I haven't loaded up on divisions, conference, Stanley Cup futures for the Hurricanes. So watch them go all the way this year when I don't have every bet of, left, right, and center on this team. But good for them for finally going out and getting Jake Gensel, getting a free agent or making a trade. This does not usually happen. with this team. Well, let's start with one of the earlier games here. I just think we're getting a pretty good price here on the Vegas Golden Knights. They dealt with some injuries. They're still dealing with it. No Hurdle, obviously. No Stone. No Petro. Aiden Hill's out. William Carrier's out. But to me, this is a Minnesota team I'm looking to fade. I'm looking to bet against them. They're not cracking a playoff spot. They've been inconsistent. And you look at some of the games they've done well in recently. Well, how about a 3-1 victory against the San Jose Sharks, Jeff? How about a 4-0 victory over the Anaheim Ducks? And then before that, taking on the Arizona Coyotes. If you look at the last 10 games for the Minnesota Wild and try and snipe out their wins, they're all against teams that the whole entire ECSI family could beat if we laced up the skates. I mean, they have the most faulty win-loss over their last 10 games because all their wins have come against easy opponents. I think defensively, this Wild team is just not the same team they were at the start of the year. Vegas on the road, certainly a spot I'm looking at here. And just the goaltending's getting much better for Vegas, despite having no Aiden Hill. Gave up some goals against St. Louis, gave up some goals against Los Angeles, but prior to that, they shut the door down quite a bit, against Winnipeg and against Columbus, St. Louis, and Seattle. So Vegas on the money line is my first play. And the reason why I'm not going the team total on that one is just because sometimes you see some pride from Minnesota where it's like, okay, we might not be able to score right now, but we're going to lock things down defensively. You've seen a lot of games where Marc-Andre Fleury or Gustafsson have just like stolen games, but they lose like 3-1. So that's kind of why I'm avoiding the team total in that one. We'll lock in the Vegas Golden Knights on the money line there, and Predators and Avalanche. What a run for the Nashville Predators. What an absolute winning streak. Ever since the coach denied them for going to the Sphere and watching U2 perform in Vegas, they were like 18-0-2 their next 20 games after that. And of all teams to break their streak, the Arizona Coyotes. I thought that was hilarious. Like they're beating great opponents like Florida. They're beating Vegas. They're beating Detroit. They're beating Winnipeg. And Arizona puts up an 8-piece on them and beats them 8-4. That was crazy to me. But Colorado, they've dropped 2 games in a row. They dropped a game against Montreal. They scored 1 goal. Dropped a game against New York. They scored just 2 goals. I like the over here. I mean, it's not often you'll see this Colorado team drop 2 games in a row like that, let alone score a combined 3 goals in 2 games. And they're at home. And right now, this team is just playing a different brand of hockey on the season at home versus on the road. Nathan McKinnon just had his streak snapped as far as his long point streak at home. I think it was like 35 games, which is unbelievable. But I like the over in this game. Over 6.5 here, Nashville and Colorado. Obviously, Nashville's off that loss, but look how many goals there were in the loss they had, 12 goals. And even though I'm sure in the next game, they'll want to get back on track defensively and say, hey, guys, we gave up 8 goals. We'll want to lock things down. Good luck doing that against Colorado. And I'm a McKinnon fan, of course. I like watching their games. But when you watch Colorado games, it's like nothing else. It's like watching an all-star game out there when Makar jumps into the rush, when Taze jumps in. You've got Nichushkin, Drouin, you got Mikko Rantanen, and so many players making plays. So the over is one that stuck out. And so I've given an early one, kind of a mid, an evening pick. How about a nighttime play here? And we got to just continue fading the Calgary Flames. But we're not going to go ahead and fade them on the money line. I don't like that price we're getting to fade them there. I kind of want to look at the team total under for the Calgary Flames. Right now, I just don't trust their offense. At one point, it was their defense I didn't trust. They trade away Noah Hannafin to the Vegas Golden Knights. They trade away Tanev. But now, at this point, you look at their offense, and they're struggling. And you got to play an LA Kings team that I watched an interview with Drew Doughty. He was talking about how they're doing this 1-3-1, right? He's like, you know what? People can say all they want about our 1-3-1. If it's not proper hockey, what was it? The Mighty Ducks that did that, or the Devils back in the day too? They did the 1-3-1 defense. I mean, it's annoying to play against. But what LA has pretty much come out and said is that when we get a 2-3-1 lead, we're done. We're freezing. We're locking it down. We're satisfied, and we're going to play defense. Minus 125 is the number I'm seeing here. 120 under 2.5 team total goals. I get it. The Kings team total over is plus 110. We could go that route. Wouldn't be a bad way to look either. But the offense right now for the Flames is just not looking very strong. So looking for maybe a defensive effort from the Kings tonight against the Flames.
Great breakdown there. I was looking at some team totals myself as we speak. Dallas kind of caught my eye. I can get them over 3.5 plus 105. I was looking, actually, I was going to ask you about the Kings team total. You can get them over 3.5 plus 120. Thoughts on the East? I know we got a handful of games left. I'm going to ask this, and this sounds crazy to me, but did Florida peak too soon, do you think?
Maybe they've been playing that style of hockey for too long. They've been playing their run and gun, their bang around the boards for a 60 minutes style for since October now. And the playoffs are approaching, and they seem like they're already a little bit banged up. They seem like they're a little bit exhausted. But at the same time, Jeff, you know how it is when they get that 2 or 3 day break, the playoffs start, they get their matchup. They're going to be I can't wait to bet unders in their games in the playoffs, because they're going to be that under team again. We're going to sit in front of our TVs. We're going to watch Florida Panther hockey, and we're going to see a 2-1 game. And we're going to see 5.5s in Florida Panthers games. I don't think they peaked, but they're going to need defense, I think. Their offense is kind of dried up a little bit, so it's proving to us they're going to need defense. But that game where I had the Bruins a couple days ago against the Florida Panthers, they knocked them off, and that means that the Bruins don't get to play the Panthers, the Leafs now. It's looking like, especially depending on what happens tonight, because the Bruins play the Leafs, it's probably going to be Maple Leafs against Panthers, which could be an absolute nightmare for the Toronto Maple Leafs. As you know, I always have to get my lick in on them at least once a show. And they don't want to play the Florida Panthers in the first round. That's for sure.
And out west, before we wrap this up, what are you seeing so far out west? I know everyone's expecting Vegas, the switch goes on. All of a sudden, these hurt players become healthy, a la Tampa Bay. We've talked at length, about Edmonton. You and I have talked at length about the Dallas Stars. What are you thinking out west right now?
So I've got futures on the Kings and Jets. Really like those teams. So hopefully one of them can get out of the first round. We can roll from there. But I really like the Stars. You mentioned them. We've talked about them at the start of the year. No one's giving them credit right now. We're talking about the Golden Knights, the Oilers. They're these teams in the division. But Colorado, obviously, what Nashville's doing right now. Funny thing is, actually, that Colorado game tonight's a playoff preview. That'll probably be the first round matchup in the playoffs, Nashville, Colorado. But I'm looking at fading a team like Vancouver that just isn't experienced. I'm just a huge believer in that. I know you are too. Teams that have been there, done that. We see it all the time in the NHL. Teams have to go through it. They have to go through the adversity, the great season, get to the playoffs. You lose the first round. It happened to Ovechkin. It happened to Tampa Bay. It happened to McKinnon with the Avalanche. And it's happened a lot to Dallas, which is why I think Dallas is going to get over that hump. And I think that Vancouver might be a bet against in the first round. I'll say Winnipeg hasn't been looking great recently. They've dropped off after having a bunch of great games in a row, picking up Toffoli, picking up Monahan. But I'll say it and I'll say it again. I think that Winnipeg is the best Canadian team. And I get some flack from people because they don't have Austin Matthews. They don't have Connor McDavid. But when you talk about playoffs, I feel like Allen Iverson, not practice, not regular season, talking about playoffs here. I think they're the best NHL Canadian team. What do you think about that take? Am I crazy?
I don't think you are, as you know, especially come playoffs, turning them on and getting the whiteout every night. Their crowd is off the charts. And I enjoy watching the whiteouts. I enjoy watching Winnipeg. And I think you're spot on. Again, everyone's going to flock to the defending champs, Vegas. Everyone's going to flock to Connor McDavid. We talked in August, September before the start about the Avs at 10-1, 5-1 just to win the West, which obviously you can't get there. It's the Jets of the world. It's the Kings of the world. It's the Dallas Stars of the world that I think you got to be careful on.
Absolutely. Experience matters. Experience matters on some of these rosters. And the Carolina Hurricanes right now, they're playing some of their best hockey we've seen in quite some time.
I can't wait. It's been a great 40 plus minutes on a Saturday. The crawl has been going the whole time. If you're not following Andrew, shame on you. Go over to X at McInnis Picks. Get all his work at Wager Talk at Sports Mayflower. Head on over to YouTube to Mayflower Sports. Subscribe. It's free. While you're there, obviously, subscribe to East Coast Sports Investors as well. Turn on the notifications for both channels. Never miss a live show here. But as always, we throw the ball, the hockey puck, the 7-yard button hook, whatever it is, so you can tell everyone what you have for them at Wager Talk today, this week, and heading into April.
Best package I have available right now. You and I always preach the long term. I've got a special for the rest of the hockey season, plus playoffs, and then the first half of the MLB season. So I wanted to throw two sports together, which I think is great. No coupon codes, no promo deals needed. You go to wt.buzz/AM, and you can get that great deal on for today. We'll have action in the NHL. We'll have action in the MLB. I'll have one play in UFC. And hey, if you're not interested in buying some plays, you got a few plays from me here today on the show. And if you want to dip your toes in the water, on Monday, April Fool's Day, we will have a $9 Monday. It's returning for one day, $9. So all the picks available at Wager Talk on Monday will be available for just $9. So check us out. And 3-0 to start off this MLB season. I might as well retire and call it quits. 100% winning here. But we're back in action today. So it's real great to see you, Jeff.
It's great to be back, and next week we hopefully will get back into our schedule, one day on our channel and, of course, one day on your channel. And behind me is the TD Garden, where later on this afternoon, early evening, we're hoping the Yukon Huskies, who are now 8.5, almost 9-point favorites over Big Ten champs Illinois, win today and head over to Arizona and make it to the Final Four. We can cash that plus 120 ticket on Yukon to the Final Four. And we have some 7-8 to 1s to them early this season to win it all. So thank everyone here. I want to wish everyone a great Saturday and a happy Easter. And we'll catch everyone back here either Monday on April Fool's or working on later this afternoon an MLB show with Scotty Webb, the odds couple. We're going to put together an afternoon and evening slate. So for myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, the one and only Andrew McInnis at McInnis Picks at wagertalk.com. We wish everyone a good afternoon. Have some fun. A lot of action out there. Stay in your lanes.
Yeah.
Don't get over your skis. Save some money for some Easter baskets and some Grey Poupon for the ham. So we'll see you soon.